noticed they're going to nerf Luna's Howl Not Forgot in the season of Opulence or whatever the hell that is, and I did a little rambling video earlier, but I kind of missed the main point. And again, I'm gonna do a lot of D1 callbacks. If you haven't played a lot of Destiny 1, I'm sorry, but to get it in short, should they nerf Luna's Howl? Yes. And before you say, oh well, clearly you're just angry because no, well, no. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The way Luna's is, the way it presents itself, is that it's basically a bad. It's like imagine last word of range, and no recoil. That's exactly what Luna's is. This is the recoil of Luna's Howl. You can just keep shooting it. And the thing is, the way Luna's works is that I'll show you when I find some enemies. Is that you hit someone, you get 2 precision hits, it buffs the next headshot or body damage. Now in Crucible, the reason why I didn't like Luna's is that it has such strong aim assist, very easy to use, and if you're able to 3-tap someone with your Magnificent Howl proc, if you see someone within the next like 3 seconds, you can 2-tap them and drop them like I think it's either like it's almost it's either 0.5 or less than 0.5. Because normally it's like 0.67 is the time to kill on Lunas. And I have used this gun just a little bit in Crucible. But every time I use it, it was just so brain dead easy. It just annoyed me. Because it's such strong aim assist, no recoil, no bloom, which is, again, a very big selling point. No bloom at all. Well, I mean, okay, there's bloom, but, like, come on. Like, look at that grouping. That's so fucking, like, tight. Look at that shit. So yeah, of course it's going to be easy to use. But I think Lunas and Not Forgotten are just a symptom of a bigger problem, which is the hand cannons on console just suck ass. And there's 2 reasons why. 1 is recoil, 2 is bloom. For me, recoil is not, and for me too, I put an asterisk for aim assist because I fucking hate aim assist on my hand cannons. Especially combined with bloom, I feel like I miss so many shots that I shouldn't have. But again, getting back to the main point. So if you don't know what bloom is, oh, sorry, let me go over another change. So what they're doing with Luna is now the Magnificent Howl perk no longer affects precision shots. It only affects body shots, and they're also changing the RPM from 180 to 150. So this is a 150 hand cannon. If you're wondering how fast they can fire, there. That's the recoil when you fire. Oh, and notice how notice this pattern, and notice, and I hope you pay attention to Luna's pattern. Same distance, right? Firing as fast as I can. Look at this pattern. Another reason why people like another issue with hand cannons, or at least why people like Luna's, because again, almost no spread in this gun. But of every other hand cannon, except for like even Ace too has this issue, and that's the issue of hand cannons, is that bloom and what do you call it? Bloom and fucking recoil. I just said that. Damn it. But again, for me, recoil is an issue. I can control this. I can control this, right? But the issue is that the main issue is bloom. Because again, if I fire this as fast as I can, even if I try to keep my my reticle where I want it to, look at that. Look how spread out that pattern is. Look how spread out. Look, and I'm gonna slow down and shoot it normally. Look, this is me shooting it like 1 second at a time. Look at that. Almost identical grouping to Luna's, but it's slightly off because my aim was slightly off. But the point is, when a can get a certain RPM, you want to fire it as fast as you can, right? So you can reset time to kill for that RPM. But you can't, because the way bloom works is that if you fire too fast on a hand cannon, your shots will just miss. It's some RNG factor that basically prevents your shots from missing. Which is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever, like one of the most dumbest things I've ever heard, is that, game developer puts in a feature that basically penalizes you for trying to fire a gun as fast as you can, especially a precision gun like hand cannons. So again, in actual Crucible, instead of going like this, firing as fast as you can, you have to go like this. And that wouldn't be an issue if Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten didn't exist, because again, Luna's can do that spread but way faster. So imagine trying to 1v1 that hand cannon. You're just gonna lose like almost 9 times out of 10, because again, they don't have to pace their shots like you do, and they have no recoil, so they don't have to recoil correct like you do. So that's the reason why Luna's is so good and Not Forgotten so good. Not only because their time to kill, which is very strong, it's because again, they don't have to deal with bloom and recoil, and that's such a and again that's the crux of the problem, is why people like them so much and why people use them so much, because every other hand cannon has that issue. Even Ace Spades. The reason why people say Ace of Spades is probably the closest gun to a Destiny 1 hand cannon is because it is. It has bloom, but it's not as severe as any other hand cannon in this game. It is not. Like, well, if you're not excluding Luna's. But yeah, let me show off this gun and here. So the way they're nerfing it, I don't agree with, because again, um, they're kind of they're nerfing the again I'm trying to find a word to describe it, because if I don't know if I already said this, but the way it works now is that if you want to 3-tap someone, you're gonna have to hit him in the head twice and then aim for the body. Now, if you don't play, if you don't play Crucible quite frequently, I'll tell you this: you never want to purposely hit someone in the body, even in the middle of a gunfight. It's like for me, even if I get a body shot with a sniper, I'll still go over the head for some dumb reason. It's just but just even in general, like you always want to go for the head, because that's how you get most of your damage. That's how you get those fast time to kills. You know, that's how you drop someone, right? But to tell someone, I probably picked the worst enemy types for this because they're crits in the body. But let's say this to go like this and then have to do that in the middle of a gunfight. That's not so smart, because again, you have to deal with flinch and all this other bullshit. So now to do that, you know, I think it's just a nerf to people who actually know how to aim for the head with this gun. But again, I can understand the idea, because yeah, the idea is if you again, if you don't know, let me get this thing proc. This perk will stay up for the next 3 seconds, right, until I get a hit or a miss. And the hit doesn't have to even be a precision shot. So the issue that people are trying to prevent is that, what Bungie's trying to prevent is that you could essentially, oh, sorry, I have a cough, I'm a little bit sick. You could essentially 3-tap person 1, get the proc up, and then 2-tap the next person. And getting 2-tapped when this gunfire is this fast is like a 0.5 time to kill, which is literally like the human reaction time. So good luck trying to win a gunfight like that when they have the perk proc. So that's what they're trying to mitigate. And to be fair, that is a real issue. Like how can you compete with a gun that can drop you like faster than the last word? You know, when someone could just 3-tap someone and then up, boom, boom, you're dropped. You know, it's like the only other guns I can think that can do it that fast are like snipers. You know, so and those are special weapons. So I understand why they're nerfing it. I just don't think the way they're going about it is the best. Cause so this is Destiny 1 story time. I was fucked by a toothbrush. Sorry, I don't know if you got the reference, but let me get into my little quiet place here. So this gun is called Whisper of the Worm, and you get it from doing the Vault of Vertigo on Aya, which is triggered by killing a special enemy when a public event spawns in the Lost Oasis, right? If you didn't know, this gun existed a long time ago in Destiny 1, Year 1, back when Dark Below came out and the Raid Coda's End came out. So, what Whisper of the Worm does is it has a perk called White Nail, where hitting 3 precision shots will return ammo into your magazine free of charge. And this is a heavy weapon too, by the way. Now, I can't aim for shit because the aim assist is very high on this gun. And also, these are Vex, so I have to aim for the body, and it's really fucking weird. Here, pay attention to me, asshole. Hey, there you go, buddy. Now, where's the, okay, there's 3. Let's see if I can get this. I already fucked up. I mean, but you'll get the point, even if I don't hit the 3 precision shots. You get the point that it's basically infinite ammo as long as you can hit your precision shots, right? Why did you, what? What was that? Okay. Whatever. So yeah, I mean, basically, imagine triple tap, but like infinite ammo. But you get all your shots back, right? So the reason why I bring this up is that back in Destiny 1, this gun was actually a special weapon, and it came from the Raid Crow's End, right? It was a special weapon called Black Hammer. It had the exact same perk, like including Mulligan and see, look, now I got all 3 shots back. So it had the exact same perk called White Nail and Mulligan, where Mulligan is like you have 25% chance to return ammo if you miss, and White Nails, where if you hit 3 precision shots, you know, you get your ammo back, right? Very strong weapon, and it's a raid weapon, right? So it should be strong. Like the Luna's the pinnacle weapon, it should be strong. Well, also, I need to address the whole entire, well, actually, I'll address it in the story, too. So, when Infusion didn't exist in Destiny 1 until Taken King came around, so when people found out, you know, you couldn't infuse your raid weapons and all this shit, people were very upset, saying, well, I spend all this time, you know, farming these weapons and, you know, putting time and effort into these weapons, but I can't bring them up to, you know, to the current year, so that's unfair. And Bungie's defense was like, okay, well, you see, guys, we want you to use different weapons, and because everyone always used the Holy Trinity, which is Fatebringer, Black Hammer, and Gallowhorn. So we want people to basically force the weapon diversity, make people use different weapons, because the Year 1 raid weapons are just way too strong for the PvE sandbox, or the current PvE sandbox. And that's kind of the issue of Lunas, is that it's just too strong for the current sandbox. And not to mention the fact that people are bringing this into quick play, which again is the way I would have just changed this to basically nerf the Lunas house, put a weapon restriction on it, like don't allow this in quick play, or I don't know, you have to do something special to use in a competitor, something. Because the way it is now, if you go into quick play, you will run into a couple of Lunas quite frequently, which is, in my opinion, just unfair to bring such a strong weapon into such a casual game mode that's supposed to be quick play. You know, it's supposed to be like, you know, you hop on, have some fun, play your one match, leave, or play your Rumble match and leave, and I have to go up against these really strong weapons. And another thing too, like I mentioned earlier, is people are saying, oh well, you know, like with the raid weapons, oh I grind hard mode, you know, Vault of Glass, hard mode courtesan, I deserve these weapons, you know, whatever. People are saying the same thing with Lunas. Well, again, in my opinion, I'm an elitist, I'm toxic, you know, whatever, the typical spiel, right? When it comes to saying who earned what, I feel like I earned my Lunas. I did not use any meta. The only meta weapon I used is Ace, and that was to finish off the last step. The only meta weapon I used is Ace. I mostly use snipers and other hand cannons. Nothing meta. I didn't use Shards Gallon or no Spectral Blades. Not even Lucky Raspberry or any of that other shit, right? I just use Top Tree Golden Gun. You can even check my stats if you don't believe me. It's on like Crucible. Go to Crucible Tracker or some bullshit and type in my username, which is it's this. But anyways, the point is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I earned my Lunas. You know, I grinded a week. I put it in my blood, sweat, and tears. I cried over this shit. Got my Lunas how I feel so, you know, yeah, I earned it. And now they're nerfing it. Well, the main reason why I'm not upset is that I don't feel as attached to Lunas howl as I do to other weapons. Because again, I knew this was gonna happen when I got the gun, but I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna touch it. I'm not gonna like it, and I don't. I feel like it's too easy, it's too powerful, and it has again no recoil on a hand cannon. Just I don't know, it doesn't feel right. But yeah, but I know some people like adore them. Like they're like, you know what? Alright, you know, some people like they got their 4-stack, they choose their way to Fable, they got their Lunas howl, whatever, end of story, right? And yeah, some people are like, well, yeah, I earned it, so you know, fuck you and this and this. And you know what? To be fair, yeah, they did earn it. You know, like how what people love to say is a win is a win, right? Regardless of how you did it. So to them, you know, they earned it regardless of how they earned it, right? Regardless whether they just cheese and use a 4-stack, or, you know, let's say they're in the Revelry, right, with the whole entire stupid tonic boost, they just spam skip grenades and they got the Fable that way. They still earned it technically, right? So honestly, I would just put a weapon restriction on it. I mean, if you keep the gun the same, just put a weapon restriction on it, or like keep it a comp or something. But yeah, it's I honestly think it's unacceptable that this gun is going it's not unacceptable that it's getting nerfed. Don't get me wrong. It's annoying that it sets the precedent that pinnacle weapons can get nerfed, because I'm pretty sure Recluse is going to be the next one on the chopping block, because that's like 0.47 time to kill with its perk proc, which is the fastest in the game, faster than last word, which is 0.53. So yeah, I'm feeling that that's next on the chopping block. And you know, the point of pinnacle weapons will be the best of the best, so why are they getting nerfed, right? And it kind of goes to show you that I was right about pinnacle weapons being too easy to acquire. Because again, if this was real, if this was harder to get, and I'm talking about like if it was like not Forgotten levels of harder, we have to get like top 500 and all this other bullshit, well, along with the other stuff, that maybe wouldn't be such an issue. And then maybe put the weapon restriction so people who got the top 500 weapon couldn't go into quick play and just start killing everyone. But again, it's just too easy to get, and people will never put down weapons that are overpowered. Clearly, they won't. They'll never unequip their Lunas. They'll never equip their Dust Rocks until they get nerfed to the ground, right? Move on to the next thing. So yeah, that's how it is, I guess. Unfortunately, it's getting changed. But back to Black Hammer, right? So, like I said, people were upset that you couldn't bring Black Hammer into Year 2 Taken King because again, it was too strong. A special weapon that had infinite ammo did a lot of damage. Very strong, and I guess you have to hit precision shots, but on bosses with huge ass heads, not pretty easy. So what Bungie did, and I think that's what they should do with Lunas maybe, or something, is maybe make it an exotic or something. You know, make it so that you have to give up something else. Because if you didn't know, they did bring back Black Hammer eventually, but they did two things to it. One, they changed it so it's an exotic, but it's still in the special slot. But to get it this time, you have to do a secret mission where you have to go through one of the strikes. I think it was something thief or shadow thief or something like that, where you have to fight Tannis the Scarred again, but this time he was reborn of Siva. Oh, well, actually, I think they brought it back during Rise of Iron, maybe. But the point is, they brought back Whisper the Worm, or sorry, Black Hammer. They called it Black Spindle. Um, it's an exotic now, and it's a special weapon. And the White Nail perk now, instead of pulling out ammo from the air, pulled it out of your reserves, which was a huge nerf to the playstyle of people who could hit the shots in general. But again, it made it so that it's not the best of the best. You know, there's some room to compete, but it's still really strong. Like, it's still like again, if you're doing War Priest on for King's Fall, you're bringing a Black Spindle for War Priest. You're just going to. Like why wouldn't you? He has a huge head. You can get a lot of ads. You can get a lot of special ammo. Boom, just keep shooting at your bubble in the back, whatever. And if you notice, I don't know if you noticed, but Bungie had a trend in, especially during Age of Triumph, where they brought back the strongest weapons, at least the raid weapons, but they made them an exotic, so you didn't have to give it up. Because the way it is now, I can have my Luna's Howl equipped, and then let's say equip my Chaperone or like my Ace. You know, having another strong weapon besides it. You know. Or like that's why Luna's Dustrock Warcliffe, right? Because Warcliffe is such an insane rocket launcher because the tracking and just the amount of rockets it shoots. So, like, you know what I mean? If you made an exotic, you could mitigate the fact that you could use other strong weapons with it. You know, or then put that weapon restriction on, and then I think it'd be just fine. But yeah. So then, and now we have Whisper of the Worm, which is the exact. It's basically, they did a mixture of Destiny 1 and 2, where they gave it the original Black Hammer perk, but they made it an exotic, and they moved it to the heavy slot, so ammo's less available for it, but it's very strong. And then it has this catalyst called Whisper Breathing. I don't have it yet. Where if you aim, it does bonus damage and you know whatever. But the point is, you know, even as an exotic and heavy, Whisper became so good and so strong that everyone uses it for everything. For any raid, you're gonna see Whisper just up there, right? Callus, what is it? Argos. I forgot. For Riven, all the bosses with crit spots, you're gonna see a lot of people using Whisper, and so of course they're gonna have to nerf this gun again, right? Because it can't be that strong. And they did a smart nerf where they nerfed the ammo capacity so that it only can hold up to, normally I think it only hold up to 9 shots. I have a reserve perk on my helmet that lets me hold up to 10, or sorry, 11. Which is, again, it's a smart nerf because, think about it like this. For people who could already use the gun, it doesn't affect them. Because if you can hit those 3 shots, it doesn't matter how much ammo you have in reserve because you still have infinite. As long as you have 3 shots, you have infinite ammo, essentially. But the people who had to constantly, like, you know, miss a couple shots here and there and have to rely on mulligan, it's going to affect them significantly because they don't have a lot of reserve shots to fall back on. Which is, maybe that's what they should change Luna. Make it so that it almost has either no reserves or barely any reserves, because that's drop mag too, by the way. So if you see, I'm going to lose 10 shots instead of 1. So maybe nerf the reserve ammo or something so that people would have to go for the head, and then when they get a headshot, they'll get some ammo back or something. Because again, oh, this is the Argos music. I love this music. Sorry, I just love this music. But again, I think the way they should change is that either make an exotic, change the ammo capacity or something. Because essentially what they're doing is that they're nerfing a playstyle where people who use the Lunas to go for the head, they essentially their playstyle is dead now. Because if you go for the head 3 times, you're gonna make the time to kill the same as everyone else's now. You have to go 1-2 body. That's how you're gonna have to do it now. And honestly, that just buffs the style of play of people who just like to spam Lunas, because, again, if I ever make the video, when I die to Luna's Howl, usually most of the time it's a body shot, not a headshot. So, like, this is what happens. You get into a gunfight, they probably got Magnificent Howard procced, and they start shooting me in the body. That's basically it. They start spamming shots, because, again, this thing has, no bloom. No bloom at all. So, again, they just keep spamming shots, and eventually, they kill me because it fires so fast, right? So, I would say, how about make it like this, where you basically have, like, 3 shots might be too harsh, but let's say you have, like, 6 shots starting off, right, when you first spawn into the game. If you get Magnificent Howl procced, and you 3-tap someone, I'd also change it because, again, I agree with Bungie is that the issue of Magnificent Howl is that since it has 3 seconds and it doesn't go away on your next hit, what you could essentially do is, 2-tap one person, imagine that took 3 shots. You could 3-tap one person and then 2-tap the next person you see, which would drop them like 0.5 seconds, which is like, extremely fast and completely unfair. So I agree. I'd change the perk so maybe you couldn't just maybe it wouldn't carry, like, you could still 3-tap, but you couldn't, like, carry over 2-tap someone. I don't know. I just think the way they changed the perk is just gonna make it feel like another 150. that has it's still gonna be the best 150 because again, low recoil, no bloom. So again, it's gonna be the best 150, but it won't feel as like it won't feel like the same or whatever. But yeah, just TLDR, the nerfs I feel like they're justified, but I would do it in the way they did Whisper, where they'd make an exotic or nerf ammo capacity or something like still keep the perk the same or slightly tweak it so it still feels relatively the same, and it still rewards people who could actually aim for the head, but punishes people who like to spam or something, Like, I don't know. That's how I feel about the nerfs. Am I going to be glad? Well, yes and no, because, yeah, I'll probably see less Lunas, but again, this gun will probably be like, actually, no, I'll probably still see it the same amount, because, it's going to be the best 150 when it gets nerfed. But the point is, actually, no, I'm not even close to wrapping this up. Fuck it, I want to go back into story time. But the point is, Recluse is an excellent chopping block, let's be honest here. Crucible has this, like, locust mentality, where, people always use the best thing. And again, I've always found it funny is that if people didn't use this gun to ad nauseum, if they just put it down, like, if it wasn't one of the most used weapons in the game, and people weren't complaining about it 24/7, then maybe Bungie wouldn't have nerfed it, right? It's almost like if people just put down their Lunas and Dust Rocks, they wouldn't get nerfed all the time. I'm not saying you don't have to, I'm not saying never use it, but like, don't use it every fucking game, right? But the issue is that since everyone uses it every game, you have these people who use it every game, and they complain that other people using it every game, and then, go on the forums, get it nerfed, whatever, move on to the next best thing, which is probably going to be Recluse, go play about Recluse, time to kill, which is insane, which is 0.47 with the perk proc, and then saying, well, it's unfair, nerf it, and then here we go again, right? Same thing in Destiny 1. A long time ago, Destiny 1 Take King came out. Sorry if I'm talking too fast. Sidearms were introduced. Love sidearms. Very great in Crucible. No one believed me. No one fucking used sidearms for shit. People use Vest in Dynasty because it thought it was overpowered because it was the only sidearm in the game, although it wasn't really that broken. Point is, sidearms were great, but shotguns and snipers were just better, right? But I thought, sidearms were very great alternative shotguns. Like, let's say you're using a Monte Carlo or auto rifle, and someone's closing the gap with a shotgun. Well, you could quickly pull out your sidearm and just go boom, boom, and like drop them because they already have damage, right? So it's a pretty good finisher weapon, right? Very good quick swap, and also very good at countering shotguns. So I will use this thing for like, oh, sidearms are the best, guys. You should use it more. They're very good. Also, another thing too is in Destiny 1 Crucible, you didn't start off with special ammo at all. They changed that. I forgot when they changed that, but you used to be able to, but now you don't. So yeah, now people use shotgun and snipers. They have to kill someone to get special, or wait for the special. Sorry, not kill someone. They have to wait for like a little special box to spawn to get special ammo. So yeah, sidearms had the special advantage of always spawning with ammo. So that means they're always available, which is good because it's a sidearm. It's your basically your last resort, your finishing tool, right? But someone discovered that hey, you can exploit this because since sidearms, the way it works in Destiny 2 is that, or Destiny 1 is if you had special ammo, if you switch to a different weapon, or just in general, if you switch to a different weapon, you'd get half the ammo you had for it right now. For sidearms, they did the way it calculated, it ended up to like maybe 1 or 2 sniper shots. So again, people are like, oh, I can just have a sidearm and start the match, switch to my sniper, have one shot or one shotgun shot available, get over with. So yeah. So then, everyone started using sidearms for the wrong reasons, I guess. And people started complaining that sidearms are broken because they're exploit, which they were, don't get me wrong. But in general, people started to complain about sidearms because everyone started using them since they dumpstered shotguns. And yeah, they nerfed it, and then sidearms became trash, and they moved on to the next thing. So the thing about these nerfs is that get used to them. This is only the beginning. The way it is now is that people are always going to complain about strong shit. I mean, I complain about strong shit, but this is Destiny 2 cycle. Bungie makes a gun that's way too strong. They know it. People get too used to the idea of the gun being this like ridiculously strong. Bungie nerfs it. People complain. Well, they complain first about how strong it is. Then everyone else starts using it because oh, if you can't beat them, join them, right? That's such a good mentality. Then people start complaining. Then they use it themselves, and they start complaining again, and then they nerf it, and then move on to the next best thing, right? That's just the locust mindset. Just keep moving on to the next best thing, and it's partially the player's fault, of course, because again, if they just put down these guns and not use them 24/7, the Bungie maybe wouldn't have to nerf them. But again, I'm not trying to excuse Bungie at all, because Bungie had no business of making a gun being able to drop someone in 0.6 seconds, or and then once you get the perk proc like 0.5. And yes, last word is retarded. It's .53, and you just spam it down. But at least an exotic, I guess, and it has like the low range, so there's an excuse there. Um, but like in the case of Lunas, I said it a million times. Lunas recruits are way too easy to get. Their time to kill is fucking insane. Very easy to use. No fucking recoil. No bloom. I don't know if I said this earlier, but again, the reason why Lunas is so coveted is that hand cannons on console have bloom. Yeah, I already talked about it. Yeah, hand cannons have bloom, and you know, for me, aim assist sucks ass. I hate aim assist. But for most people, it's the recoil and bloom. Lunas has none of that, or very little to none, and it can drop someone in like 5 seconds or whatever, or 6.67 or some crazy number, right? So what's not to love about this gun? It's so good. So honestly, it's, maybe instead of nerfing Lunas or just change it to an exotic, maybe nerf the ammo capacity to force you to get a 3-tap precision hit to get ammo back or something. Like maybe mix it with white nail or some shit, and yeah, and maybe make it so that bloom doesn't fucking exist on console, or you know, because again, I find it funny that you have these 180s are the only hand cannons that can actually fire at their full fire rate. Because even if you have Ace of Spades or even a Duke, which is an aggressive like slow firing gun, if you fire them as fast as you can, you will get a bloom and you'll miss your shots, which is the dumbest thing. Like RPM is just a suggestion at this point, really. If it's not a 180, like what's the point of firing a gun as fast as I can if it's gonna miss all the shots, you know? Sorry, I've been rambling too long, but yeah, the Luna changes. Is it gonna make the gun worse? Objectively, yes, because you can't 2-tap people, but it's still gonna be the best hand cannon, at least best 150. On PC, I have no idea. On PC, it's very different metagame, and honestly, I think I've always had this. I've always been a strong advocate of balancing PC and console separately because they play so differently. Hand cannons have no bloom on PC, so again, like Ace of Spades, Thorn, you can use whatever hand cannon you want. No bloom, your shots will go where you want to go. It's mouse and keyboard. Low recoil, easier to control the recoil. Also, another big issue is that this game's 30 frames per second. And if you don't know, FPS, your frames per second can also affect recoil and fire rate. Because I play a lot of Warframe, the Prisma Gurkata. If you play on console, fun fact, Warframe isn't, I don't think Warframe's 30 FPS on console. I think it's around 60 or something. Because if you lower your FPS on let's say you're playing Warframe, right? Gurkata is like basically a machine gun that fires really fast. Like it fires really, really fast. And when you play on 60 FPS, it feels smooth, right? It has recoil, but it's very smooth and it's easy to control. When you lower your FPS down to 30, it sounds different. One, because the fire rate can't keep with the frame per second, right? So it objectively fires slower, has more recoil, and yeah, it just has more screen shake. Same thing with console. Same thing with this game. On what do you call it? On consoles, this is 30 FPS. Guns like Waking Vigil, you know, some of these like fast firing guns, they actually will fire a lot faster in like I say real life, but on PC they'll fire a lot faster because they don't have the frame rate restriction, right? And since they have more frame rate, that's less recoil, and you know what I mean. So that's why hand cannons are completely different on PC, mostly due to higher frame rate, higher bloom. Sorry for being redundant, but I'm just trying to for my mistake, I'm trying to make sure I didn't skip anything. So yeah, sorry about this long rambling. Are these changes smart? In a roundabout way, I guess so. It does address the fact that Lunas can 2-tap, but in a sense, again, you're punishing the playstyle of, well, I say you're punishing the skill aspect of the gun, which is aiming for the head, because again, going like this is so dumb. You have to actively handicap yourself, hit yourself in the body. I don't know, because again, the entire point of hand cannon is that you want to aim for the head to get the 3-tap, right? Why would you purposely aim for the I don't know. And again, the thing is too, if you aim for the head again, it doesn't matter if you're the perk proc or not. This is the 150. It'll 3-tap anyways. At least I assume 150s can 3-tap, or can they 4? I'm pretty sure they can 3-tap. I think 180s are the only ones that have to 4-tap. So again, if you aim for the head 3 times, it's gonna be the same as any 150. If you aim for the head in the body, it's gonna be the same as any 150, right? Except that you got the body kill to the headshot kill. But honestly, again, if you're aiming for the head, it's more of a detriment to go from high to low. It's easier to go from low to high, because again, you're gonna get flinch upwards. Flinch doesn't go downwards. So again, it's gonna feel like every other 150. It's gonna, don't get me wrong, it's gonna be the best 150, but it's gonna be the same as every other 150, because the perk is gonna be regardless. Because again, when I play Crucible, I'm not aiming for the body. I'm always aiming for the head, and the fact that aiming for the body isn't gonna change the time to kill for me. It's just irrelevant. It's just gonna be a hand cannon that has no bloom and no recoil, and that's it. That's what Lunas is gonna turn into. Same with Not Forgotten. So Yeah, I don't necessarily think the changes are dumb. I think they could have been better. I just say give it the whisper treatment, give it the Black Hammer treatment. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Sorry for rambling for so long, but yeah. I know you'd probably think, oh, I'm so happy Lunas is gone. It's good. They're gonna find something else. They're probably gonna nerf Recluse or something. They're gonna. I'm not gonna get excited because I already know some other fun gun in PVE or PvP is gonna get on the chopping block because you know, people have to use the best of the best, right? This is all skill based. That's why we definitely need to have the best of the best weapons. Yeah. I guess this was a thought on my matter. I didn't really label it as such, but I'll label it like that. Yeah, thanks for watching. Sorry to all you Luna users, I guess. I guess not sorry too, because, you know, fuck you guys for always spamming it, but can't wait to see what else is on the chopping block, right? God forbid we're gonna have something. But yeah, actually, no, PSA. If you do find the next best thing, which is probably Recluse, here's a secret. Don't fucking use it every single goddamn game, and don't use it in quick play, right? Don't use it, just fucking calm down, okay? It's not gonna be the end of the world. I don't know. Just stop using the most broken weapons all the time. Anyways, thanks for watching.